I found out by accident, not through an invitation, not through a conversation, just a notification on my phone, a calendar reminder for a payment I'd forgotten existed. Beach house, final installment due. A reminder tied to a dream my daughter once whispered about, her honeymoon place. A dream we sketched together when she was 14, sitting on the porch, her head on my shoulder. I stared at the notification for a long time, wondering why it felt heavier than usual, and then my phone rang. Her voice was soft, too soft, the kind of softness that hides a blade behind it. "Dad," she said, "about the wedding preparations you asked earlier, there's something I should tell you." Something inside me turned cold. My hand froze halfway to my coffee cup. I waited. Silence stretched thin. "I already got married, Dad," she said, 3 days ago. "We only invited people who really matter." There was a quiet chuckle in the background. My wife's. Sharp. Dismissive. Then my wife came on the line, voice dripping with impatience. "Please don't make this dramatic. Just send the money for the beach house. You'll meet them, eventually." Her words weren't a request. They were a command wrapped in arrogance. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just smiled at the wall in front of me, a thin, tight smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Of course," I said, and I hung up before they could hear the shift in my breathing. 3 days later, I left a wedding gift at their door, a simple envelope. My wife screamed non-stop when she opened it, and the house that once mocked me fell into a silence it had never known. It started months earlier, small changes, subtle, almost invisible unless you were the one being slowly pushed out. My daughter stopped answering calls, stopped visiting, stopped asking me for advice on anything. At first, I blamed life, college, work, distance. But then her tone changed. Short replies, mechanical politeness, a daughter talking to a stranger she owed nothing to. And my wife, she became the buffer between us, redirecting conversations, downplaying events, forgetting to tell me things. Little omissions that stacked like quiet bricks in a wall I didn't know was being built. The first real crack appeared when I found a receipt. My wife's purse tipped over, contents spilled across the kitchen floor. A jewelry store, a men's ring, engraved. Not my size, not my style, definitely not mine. I asked her about it gently. She laughed too loudly. "It's for a friend's son, don't overthink things." Overthink? People always say that when they want you to stop noticing. Then came the whispers in the hallway late at night, my wife talking in hushed tones, her footsteps light, careful, as if guilt had weight. And the worst part? My daughter's sudden shift in loyalty. The way she leaned toward my wife more, as if someone had quietly redrawn the lines of our family. A silent alliance forming without me. I felt it long before they confirmed it. The wedding. The secrecy. The exclusion. They didn't just hide the event, they hid my place in it. And something in me knew, this wasn't just about a wedding. There was a deeper betrayal beneath it all. One I could almost see, but not yet touch. So I stayed quiet, and I watched. Silence became my weapon. I learned long ago that people reveal their sins faster when you stop trying to uncover them. I started small, a digital background check on the groom. Not invasive, just enough to understand the man who married my daughter without me standing beside her. I found something odd. His address history listed my wife's sister's home. Not recent, 3 years old, but relevant enough to make my gut tighten. Then I found photos. Not online, my wife's old phone left unlocked one night. My daughter, laughing. My wife, standing next to her. And him, the groom. But the date on the photo made my throat go still. 2 years old. 2 years, and not a single word from either of them. The ring receipts started to make sense. The whispered phone calls, the sudden shift in my daughter's behavior. Pieces rearranged themselves in my mind, quiet and merciless. So I went further. I pulled bank statements, my own, found transfers I didn't approve, large ones, timed perfectly with their shopping trips, errands, family gatherings. A pattern built itself, cold and beautiful in its cruelty. My wife had been funding my daughter's relationship behind my back, shielding her secrecy, positioning herself as the sole parent worth relying on. And I had unknowingly financed the wedding I wasn't invited to. The beach house payment request suddenly tasted sour. I made one more move. I requested the marriage certificate. And when it arrived, everything snapped into place. My wife was listed as the witness. My name appeared nowhere, a ghost in my own family's milestone. I didn't react. I didn't confront. I simply folded the document and placed it in an envelope. Revenge doesn't require anger, only clarity. The truth arrived with a soft thud, the envelope sliding into their doorway. Inside it, a copy of the marriage certificate, highlighted, annotated, documented. But that wasn't what made my wife scream. It was the second document, a revocation notice, my lawyer's letterhead, my signature at the bottom, stating plainly, all financial support permanently terminated. Beach house payment canceled. Joint accounts frozen. Inheritance restructured. My daughter opened the door moments later, face pale, disbelief stretching across features that once mirrored my own. "Dad, what is this?" Her voice cracked, but I stayed silent. My wife stormed out behind her, eyes wild. "You can't do this! You're overreacting! Think about your family!" I tilted my head slightly. "My family?" I said quietly. "You already decided who mattered." Their faces collapsed at the same time. Beautiful. I didn't enter their house. I didn't cross the threshold. I just handed my daughter a small box. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was the bracelet she made for me when she was 10, beads spelling Dad in crooked letters. I had kept it for years, protected it, treasured it. Now it sat in her hands like an accusation. "I think," I said softly, "you may want this more than I do." Her eyes filled with confusion first, then realization, then regret. But regret comes too late when people believe they will never lose you. My wife stepped forward, tears sharp, almost angry. "Why are you doing this? She's your daughter." I looked at her the way a surgeon looks at a tumor, with clinical detachment. "She was," I said, "until you taught her that love is conditional, transactional, convenient." They both froze. I turned away, not waiting for responses. No shouting, no begging, no apologies. Just the sound of my wife breaking behind me, her screams echoing out the doorway. Like I said, revenge doesn't need rage, only precision. I drove home with the windows down, not for the air, but for the silence. A silence I had earned. I didn't feel victory, didn't feel triumph, just clarity. Betrayal doesn't destroy you. It simply removes the people who were willing to. I walked into my house, my empty, quiet house, and felt something release inside my chest. Not pain, not grief, just space. Space where they once were. Space where I once stood waiting. Space I would never allow to be filled by the wrong people again. I looked at the last photo of us on the mantel and turned the frame face down. The sound it made, small, final. I whispered the last truth aloud, not for them, but for myself. Some goodbyes are gifts, and I meant every word.